Very good afternoon. Thank you very much for this nice introduction. Now I like to request our chair of the session, Dr. Soonee sir, please give a brief session introduction and an overview of the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Pradyot. Good evening. It's already late, and we have a very exalted panel. So let me not take much time, but thank ISGF for arranging this session. And I would say that, when I was a student, whenever I used to go to a professor, I was from power system side, that what do? He will come up with some theory that you apply this in optimization. Sometimes steepest descent, sometimes conjugate gradient, all things which I have not heard, he will say apply this. And big list, but gradually we applied and we got the benefit. Telgun's theorem we just applied last decade. So many theory which we couldn't apply, now we could apply. The idea of my telling this is, if there are technologies, power system, energy system is the place where we must apply. Try at least, it will work. Of course, utilities are little tough guys, they don't allow so easily, but we need to enter and try it out. That is the first point I wanted to make. The other thing I would say is, anything if it can cause efficiency, if it can cause economy, it's most welcome. At the end, people will accept it. For example, India adopted synchrophasers in the very early stages, and we got tremendous benefit out of it. Today, so many applications are coming out of that. But now, with all these electrification, EVs, cooking, hydrogen, so many things coming up, the scope is much higher. To give confidence to the audience and to the panelists also, I once went to chairperson CRC. That, sir, everybody's talking about blockchain almost a decade back. And two successive chairmen, they said, please go ahead, try some application. And if it succeeds, we will allow that fund to pass through. So now, the policymakers, regulators, and utilities are ready to adapt technology. By the way, I am a practitioner, and I am, a little oddly placed amongst all the scholarly professors here in the panel. But I would say that, all these terminologies and the technologies of AI, ML, blockchain, and with IBRs coming in, with DERs coming in, so scope is huge, and a lot of work is going on. That's something very important. DST, along with UISTTF, has been doing a lot of pilots also, which our professors have led, and I have myself had the fortune of looking at it. They are not only theory, they have shown that it can work. So, without taking much time, I would say that we should listen to the professors and two pilot projects also. The last I would say is, after all this smart grid technology, of course, I have a reservation with smart word. It's always smarter technologies. We were always smart, so we want to become smarter, that's for sure. So where do we house all these things? That's a question. So as a power system operator, somebody told me that all the theory which professors are teaching about power system optimization, it is the power system operator where the rubber meets the road and you got to apply that. And I really realized that it has given us results. Same thing, all these technologies which you all are talking about, first good thing about it is that they are all coming now in distribution. That was a neglected area. So it's a very good news that a lot of work will happen in distribution technologies. And where do we house it? So one of the projects which was shown by Mrs. Mediratta also, which we will hear more, is the DSO. We need an institution where all these things can be housed, and they will own it, they will champion it, and try to apply the way it comes around. With this, I hand it over back to the moderator and listen to the panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Soonee, for your very good and informative introduction. And now I would like to request one of the, you can say the smart grid pioneer work, Professor Padhy. So I request Dr. Professor Padhy to share your views and presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, it is here. All right, so a very good evening, and probably getting into the time reservation. I will try my level best to quickly bind it up so that we can have a round of discussion at the end. Probably today I'm NP Padhy, representing DST to highlight the better smart grid activities that DST has contributed during last 1 decade. So if you have a look, that these are the kind of collaborations being supported by DST for Indian researchers, scientists, industry partners, and startups. So probably, as you could see, there are Indo-UK collaborations, Indo-US collaborations, mission innovations, activity across the world, and finally, Indo-European collaborations. I think the details I will get into after a couple of slides. But one thing is very clear, that almost actually there are dozens of projects being executed through Indo, UK, US, and Europe, and rest of the country across the world partnership. Complete funding has been supported by DST to carry out research. Majorly, we divided all the areas, smart grid areas, into 6 categories. As you could see, large-scale distributed generation integration mechanism, energy storage, advanced distribution management systems, data analytics, cyber security, charging infrastructure, and finally, business models. Now, to start with the Indo-UK collaboration, as you could see, the different institutions across the country are being engaged, and DST is successful in creating a wonderful ecosystem, not only attracting the academicians, but also the industry partners and startups to this journey. And starting from IIT Roorkee, IIT Delhi, MNIT Jaipur, IIT Hyderabad, IIT Bhubaneshwar, IIT Madras, almost all the institutions, including many industry partners, could successfully execute the collaborative projects within India and UK. Now, these are the 2 important projects which has been carried out with UK collaborations. One is known as SEJAS, and the second one is actually JBCEC, and probably few of our colleagues will present in detail in due course of time. Now then, let us summarize. If you see just an outcome of Indo-UK collaboration itself, there are 7 projects and centers, 321 manpower trained. The total budget is close to 81 crores, 27 institutions involved, 28 industries, 29 patents, 400 plus publication, and 3 pilot demonstrations. So that shows the magnitude of contribution that the Indian government, especially through DST, is being executed within the country. Now, similarly, if you move to Indo-US collaboration, again, across the board, institutions across the country, north to south, east to west, are being engaged. And you can also see that there are a couple of important projects, whereas Professor S.C. Srivastava will talk about those pilots in detail in due course of time, so I'm not taking a lot of time here. Sorry, but one thing is very clear again, 200 plus manpower, 54 crores of budget, 11 institutions, 9 industries, 3 patents, 200 plus publications, and 5 pilots. So that's a mega level of contributions across the country. Now, moving to mission innovation, probably as you all aware, that mission innovation movement started with Mission Innovation Smart Grid Initiative, and today it has been renamed as Green Power Future Mission. DST in specific is leading that mission actually from Indian side, and lot of grant which has come to different institutions, starting from IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, IIT Roorkee, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, Agra, that is Dayalbag Institution in Agra, all got support to execute those mission innovation projects. Now here I like to highlight there are a few outcomes. One is importantly EV charger development, solar agricultural farms, megawatt scale solar energy integration in weak grids, and prosumer driven integrated smart grid. So these are the 4 major outcomes which has been realized. There are totally 9 projects, 70 manpower trained,
28 crores grant, 17 institutions, 16 industries, 4 patents and 83 publications. One thing again I like to highlight, DST in specific keen to collaborate and create an ecosystem not only within academic institution but also taking industry partners into account. So this is one of the major achievement of DST for last 1 decade. All the activities and the penny they have sponsored, subject to there is an industry partner. And now you are moving to the last one, Indo-European call, which is currently active. And probably some of my colleagues will speak about Indo-European projects in detail. There are 2 projects with 24 crores grant, 16 academic institutions, 8 industries, 10 eco tools. So I think it's a very unique feature, which is being specifically mentioned that, they created different tools through Indo-European. It is basically hardware, software mix application tools. Probably some of my colleagues will speak in details. 200 plus publication, just half the way to Indo-European projects for 5 pilots. So as a whole, you could see there is a huge amount of work which has been carried out within this nation almost for last 7 to 8 years. And the whole credit goes to Dr. JBB Reddy and DST by large. Finally, as a program outcome, you could see there are 17 projects, total investment of 188 crores, 600 plus manpower training, 100 PhD theses, 700 plus publications, 13 pilots, 10 eco-tolls, 36 patents, 27 institutions, 39 international institutions, and 45 industries. I think that is too much for all of us to digest, but probably let us see the panel goes well. With this note, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Padhy. Now I request Dr. Sreedhar Venkat to share your views in the presentation.
What is the presentation? Excuse me? Presentation is not over. Yeah. My presentation, Sreedhar Venkat. No, Sreedhar Venkat. His name is not there, no? Shashi, forward. Meanwhile, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Soonee, Dr. Padhy, and Dr. Srivastava, and entire faculties from industries. Till they load the presentation, let me just speak on the DISCOM perspective. BSES Rajdhani Power Limited has been doing a lot of initiatives on the technological front, whether it is AI, ML, and also a little bit of virtual reality and augmented reality, and also a digital twin space. We started doing some pilot projects. And as a DISCOM, we believe that capability building of engineers to take the DISCOM to the future ready, so that whatever we talk about, because in Delhi, we have 30 lakh consumers, and we give around 4,000 megawatt peak power in BSES Rajdhani Power Limited, which is giving South and West Delhi. Out of 1.2 crore population of Delhi, we are giving power supply. In fact, today with the latest collaboration, whatever other session I talked about, people talked about industry and IT and academia collaboration, and we as a utility to build the capability for engineers, especially on the digital front. We are doing a lot of initiatives. And in fact, the electrical vehicle space, where out of 82 bus depots and 41 bus depots are there in our BSES Rajdhani Power area, where you have seen all Delhi, the 1,500 buses are electrical buses are running. And we have two-wheeler and four-wheeler also going in a big way in Delhi, where the peak power management is a big challenge for all of us. With summer and winter, we have two peaks, and summer peak in Delhi, where the temperature reaching 46, 48, and 50, where the peak demand goes up, where the demand side management become a big challenge for all of us. So this technological, the emerging technology really helps us to do, whether it is a power purchase on the power purchase space, or on the scheduling and as well as arranging the power for the peak power, and also on the costly power or which power PPA we have signed and where the power is available for your power purchase agreements. And sometimes because of the non-solar, because the battery energy storage system is coming up, we have done some pilot projects of seven DTs we have done, and we also done, we are going to do one 20 megawatt battery energy storage system at a Koley grid, like Tata has done for 10 megawatt, we are going for 20 megawatt in our Delhi space. And so as we are moving up, my presenters has come, so I'll just come back. See, we interconnected, we're multidirectional and striving for more sustainable practices, because we as an organization, we believe environmental social governance, we have started implementing, we made policies for water pollution, land pollution, air pollution, as well as employee pollution, because we believe in distribution space, the manpower we use, we have to take care of their health and happiness, because the more happy and healthy employees, they deliver better. So, how to identify in a bigger setup where 12,000 employees are there in Rajdhani Power and 8,000 employees are there at Yamuna Power, we have 20,000 employee space. So, interconnected and making them capable, we have launched bottom row most people programs like Urja Sarthi, Uttam Urja Sarthi, Urja Mapa Kendra Sandrashak and Technique Sadhyate Abhyankar, like that programs for grassroots. And also the people at the supervisory and the managerial level, we did programs for their capability building on the technological space. So this collaboration, which is a lot of pilot and for funding at USAID, JSZ and various funding and pilot projects were done. And IIT Kanpur also we had done. IIT Delhi also we did some projects, and TERI also we are doing projects. So those pilot projects were given our confidence to take this into next level. In fact, G20 also gave us a big, capability boost of for BSES Rajdhani, because both our G20, our Bharat Mandapam and Yashobhumi, another center which has come recently for the MICE conferences, where it's going to be 25,000 crore business for the Indians. So where we have done a power supply arrangement for both Bharat Mandapam as well as for Yashobhumi. And while we're doing the project, first time we did, normally if you see conferences where you will have a DG supply and the electricity supply will be backup. First time in the industry, in the Indian context, we had electrical supply, distribution supply was the primary and DG was kept as a backup. So, and when we did G20, where our cyber attack was very high, we had around 3,000 attackers were attacking us from various sources, and our whole IT team worked around the clock during those September 8, 9, 10 and cyber threats. We really faced that in real scenario, and we averted any major disaster during the cyber attacks. Similarly, peak demand, we talked surging every year. We anticipate by 2030, Delhi will have 10,000 megawatt of power, to currently at 7,500 megawatt peak power, and BSES Rajdhani was 3,400 we touched. Now this year we anticipate 3,700 megawatt of peak demand. So as we have to mobilize various resources, gas station, the availability of gas or the coal is available, but with respect to the as a DISCOM, we are moving for a green DISCOM. 50% of our energy power purchase we want to bring in renewable power and green power. So where already we are at 35%, we will move to 15% another 2 years' time. So demand for efficient and reliable utility networks will continue to grow, and customer expectations also scaling up. As a DISCOM, our restoration, SID, SIFI and DT loss hours or even no current complaint at the LT level, we are mapping each and every scenario, because we believe in the big data scenario where 30 lakh consumers where Delhi, we would like to see that our assets are mapped and also the customer with the assets is tagged properly so that we are able to give them the delight. And as a DISCOM, we are continuously working on this aspect. And the technology space, AI, ML, IoT, big data, digital twin, we are also utilizing it. And utilities can overcome the limitation of methods by enhancing performance, reduce cost, ultimately provide services to meet the modern world's demand, because customer expectations has gone up like anything in Delhi. Gone are the days of 2003 when the privatization took place, till now it is 22 years have passed. 1st July will be completing 22nd year and 23rd will start. So this customer expectation day by day is going up. So with the technology only we will be able to meet the big data, which is because we all know oil, data is a new oil, where volume, this veracity and your velocity and the variety, we have to add value to the customer at the end of the day. So we believe handling data and we'll bring the technology and capability building of our engineers, we will be ready for the future of utility. So this, how the technology will contribute to distribution. It will enhance reliability. Yes, we'll give power supply, 10 to 24/7, 360 per days. We call it with safety and with the quality, and we'll give uninterrupted power supply to our customers, the delight. So we'll have to identify the fault at the HV level, because in distribution space we have the 66 kV, 33 kV HV side, medium voltage side, and we have 11 kV and the distribution side, LT distribution, where we have to see, we have done DMS, we have out of 10,000 DT transformers, we have done almost close to 1100 transformers, we have done motorized RMU, and the DMS, we have reduced the fault level from 55 minutes to 25 minutes. We want to journey, will go to 10 minutes, maybe another year or so. So we want to give an enhanced reliability as a distribution and efficiency of our operations, because we did a heat mapping of load, where the loads are there, with the grid, detailed grid, where our own grids, you have made a mapping, which is transformers or equipments are loaded, 60% are unbalancing. And the schedules for maintenance, preventive maintenance with the technological utilization, and we also use, because we are moving from older days of reactive maintenance, breakdown maintenance to preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance to proactive maintenance. So we started doing partial discharge and the thermal scanning and drone survey for those identifying the faults. Similarly, at the also at the local level, LV IoT, like there are many people who are there, and some technological intervention we have done on the IoT, LT side also. We can bring the operational cost, we have also seen an operational cost reduction, and customer experience we can give. In the AI space, so we have used a customer care of chatbot we have used. See, the call center, we have agents who, in the summer, the complaints picks up. So numbers goes up, transformer equipment breakdown, etc., cable fault, etc., is happening, and even LT side failures. Where to handle the customer complaint, we have tried chatbot and the voice bot, and this is able to do the scenario and is able to see equipment assets and the availability, and is able to see the scenario, is able to speak like an agent. A trained call center agent. So this we tried in our customer care call center space. And the machine learning SCADA on the predicted demand and supply and fault analysis. Yeah, I'll just mind. SCADA and the space we did DT monitoring on the OCR reader. We have done that. I'll go back. And the cloud computing we did for data warehouse for AMR, ISUW and IOMS, Intelligent Outage Management System, net metering. We did cloud computing and the outages monitoring. And we have used virtual reality and augmented reality for our ACB and RMU aspects. And the robotic process automation we are introducing for touchless cable, underground cable technology. We are already doing it. And the Internet of Things, smart grid and smart meters, DT monitoring, customer service device monitoring, we are into it. And the big data storage, easy and fast access and analysis, we are working on it. And the mobility, we have done a lot of mobile apps to maintain our customer database. The use case, we can see that one of our case has been recognized by the POSOCO, sorry, it's coming from POSOCO, that demand forecast and schedule optimization, the practices which are done for meteogram and radar imagery, and the climate control and rainfalls and the plant RSD to avoid loss in scale of day-ahead predictions in case of rainfall. So we have done a AI and ML based module, and this has been appreciated by Government of India, POSOCO. And virtual reality, we are really using the RMU ACP operation, and we are giving a simulation to the people, experience to people, our workforce. We already done 4,000 linemen and our supervisors, where we are using VR and AR module. And the digital twin, we are trying to do the LT network, because to LT network, and no current component is a challenge for distribution company, because LT level, the network is not automated. That to that scale, where up to 11 kV level and EHV level are much automated, because SCADA, JS and other aspects are there, and DMS is now coming up with Flisser and ADMS, which are going for next level. So things will go in next user experience. So here where we did real-time calculation and distribution grid and the classic SCADA system. So renewable energy sources and electric vehicle charging and flexibility in management we have done, and we are able to see the digital twin experience. And we are also doing with a household and smart plug and for a consumer, and the consumer can remote see that load pattern and load curve. So we as a DISCOM, we are doing some pilots like that, and this all now going to explore like in an exponential manner, because as a DISCOM we believe modern DISCOM which is looking ready for the future, and also preparing the people for the capability to see the emerging, was DST has done a lot of work, and we as a DISCOM, we also believe that we will go in a big way. So key takeaways are, so we always encourage innovation. In this forum also we have 15 participations, presentation by engineers. So we send our engineers to DUM and ISGF and all the forum. Also international forum, our teams have gone and presented the case studies and also exchange the ideas. So we promote innovation, and we prioritize actions which can yield operation flexibility, because the duck-neck curve during the summer, where how to balance the peak curve is a challenge for a DISCOMs, and also get a cheaper power during that time, that is also a challenge. So how do we do, because this AI, ML and these technologies can only further bring along with the human and the artificial will make things better for DISCOM in the days to come. Big data predictive analysis is already helping us. We have smart devices to cyber security, and those aspects also we are going in a big way, and we have recruited a big team, IT team, digital space, and who are really working at the ground level to make programs. And now with already developed programs which are there in the country, we'll align with those and collaborate and take it to next level. So smart devices we talked about, and managing peak performance and peak demand is also a crucial factor, and DISCOMs will use technology, whatever is coming up, or it will come up in the future, because we also believe the change is the only constant, and in the energy transition, the change we have to adapt very quickly, and we as a DISCOM, leading DISCOM will adapt to the change and ready for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sreedhar, Venkat, for your insightful presentation. Now I would like to request Professor S.C. Srivastava to share your views in the presentation. Welcome.
So first of all, I would like to say I am project director after retirement. So whole life I was professor, professor of electrical engineering. So, okay. Thank you very much. So I'll give a very brief about our Indo-US project, which is a journey of more than 6 years involving about 100 engineers and professors and more than 150 students and researchers. So it's very difficult to cover in 5 minutes, but I will try to. Oh no, this is something else. This is something else. Yeah. So can you open my slide? Or can you close? I'll open. I am Srivastava, not Srinivas here. Can you close this slide? So this was the project actually started in end of September, and Department of Science and Technology, which is under Ministry of Science and Technology, gave funding from India side through Indo-US Science and Technology Forum, and Department of Energy funded from US side. There are actually 16 partners from US side and 15 partners from India side. I can see that how geographically they are spread, and that is shown in these figures. And the overall idea was to give and develop the model of a smart distribution system, which actually integrates renewables, not only renewable sources, but also storage and microgrids. And then also demonstrate the advanced distribution management system, microgrid management system, and DSO model actually. So that was the main effort. It was actually led by IIT Kanpur from India side. There were 5 IITs involved: Delhi, Madras, the Roorkee, and Bhubaneshwar. And TERI is another institution involved. Apart from that, many utilities like Netra, BRPL, Power Grid, UPPCL, and many industries were involved from India side. Similarly, on US side, West Virginia University along with Washington State University, which was leading. We had MIT, Texas A&M, and then Hawaii National, and several national labs. Actually, I saw one of the person from NREL, PNNL, and then Berkeley Lab, and utilities as well as industries were involved. So it was a big project to handle. So as usual, this project had a lot of R&D activities, and every aspect of developing a smart distribution system with renewable and storage integration was worked out, whether it was in terms of storage sizing, siting control, its controls, charge discharge algorithms, or optimal scheduling of at the microgrid level or at the distribution level, then primary and secondary control, protection aspect, forecasting aspect. ADMS platform has been indigenously developed, which I will highlight little more. Then we worked on electricity market, local electricity market. DSO framework, on which you have a separate presentation, was worked out. TSO-DSO interaction. We also looked at cyber security and cyber infrastructure aspects. Not only that, we also did social survey when we were implementing some of the pilots, and also regulatory as well as policy aspects have been worked out. So all the concepts were tested on the lab test beds. 6 of them have been created at 6 partner level, 5 IITs and TERI. And then many of the concepts have been translated into field implementation. So we have divided into 3 categories: rural pilot, semi-urban, and urban. So 1 rural, 2 semi-urban, and 2 urban pilots have been implemented by different agencies. I'll give a very brief about that. And I think you are being given the pamphlet on the whole project by our team members actually. So IIT Kanpur coordinated 1 rural pilot, which is actual village, 45 kilometers from our campus. There were 2 hamlets which were not electrified. So we took up them to electrify, and also we did a lot of survey to find out their needs, electrical load requirement. We interviewed a lot, and then also we have seen the pattern in the nearby villages which were electrified to work out their power requirement. We also looked at the local resources available. So accordingly, we have gone for a combination of solar and biomass, because one village had a lot of cattle and it was spread on the streets. So the purpose was that you utilize them to generate power and also it will ensure some cleanliness on the street. And everything was battery backed up. And we have gone for interconnected microgrid in the 2 hamlets, which were connected by AC, DC, AC converters. And then we had in our campus one semi-urban pilots where 30 houses were provided with the 5 kilowatt solar PV panels, and centralized actually battery storage have been planned. In fact, this planning was done after a lot of optimization studies which were carried out. And then charging stations have been set up with fast charger, DC charger, AC charger, 22 kilowatt, vehicle to house charger, and also the auto rickshaw charger. So they are in operation and they are being utilized extensively. And then everything was controlled through microgrid energy management system. Now coming to urban, we took up 2 sub-projects. One was the utilization of 25 kilowatt solar and the battery energy storage on the rooftop of one multi-story building. And then second was one was the thermal energy storage. In fact, this was a very successful the pilot implementation where we are supporting air conditioning load during daytime. So it utilizes the phase change material inside the tank, which is shown on the extreme right. People are standing when it was being inaugurated. In fact, Professor Karandikar, who is the DST secretary, inaugurated it. Currently DST secretary, that time he was director of IIT Kanpur. So it gets charged during night time and then daytime it supports the air conditioning load. It is very successfully operating for more than 2 years. Now coming to other pilots, the urban pilots, in fact it has 3 sub-pilots, were coordinated by TERI and BRPL together in Delhi, New Delhi. In fact, they demonstrated the potential of the battery energy storage at 3 places. One was at the DT secondary level to reduce the overload, to manage the overload of transformers. So when it crosses 80% loading, the battery will support so that you can defer the upgradation of transformer and also the overload can be avoided. It had secondary application of energy arbitrage. Second one was in a society where it is a backup to the diesel generators which they have put right now, and energy arbitrage is being shown. And third one is in their campus where the battery storage have been utilized to make the solar PV which was existing dispatchable, and also it can be utilized for demonstrating the energy time shift. Netra has gone for 4 megawatt of solar PV installation in their campus in Greater Noida, along with 1 megawatt hour battery energy storage. They already had about 400 kilowatt municipal solid waste power generator. They have also installed the hydrogen generator. Everything is integrated, and they want to make the whole campus autonomous and rely less on the utility supply. Now, I will highlight only one project which we implemented in the rural areas. So, this is the initial state. If you see the top second figure, you will not find any electrical pole there. So, it was unelectrified. And if you see the third figure on the top, there were some NGOs who have put a few watts of solar. And they were charging at the rate of 100 rupees per kilowatt hour. So that was one resistance we faced when we tried to convince them going for solar. So we had a series of meetings with the ladies there and also the villagers to convince about the project, to tell about the project. At least 30, 40 meetings I have attended. And then finally the groundbreaking ceremony, we got with a lot of difficulty the land, Panchayat land, and then groundbreaking ceremony took place in November 2019. Unfortunately, COVID came, that delayed everything. Initially, because our partner was the local utility and also one of the NGOs. So utility agreed to provide transformer at the 2 hamlets and wires to their houses. And we have connected the microgrid containing solar PV, biomass, and energy storage to the system. Now, this is the actually detail of the pilot. Now, when we were doing initial survey about their requirement, they said more than electricity. They were not having electricity. More than electricity, they need irrigation water. because their agriculture yield is suffering. So thanks to the committee who really approved the 6 irrigation pumps, solar-powered irrigation pumps. I think Dr. Reddy and Soonee was there in the committee. And that has really enhanced their agriculture yield over the years. I think over 2 years we are seeing. They also were, many of them were suffering. Their children were suffering because of the education they were not getting because of the no electricity was there. So it improved their education standards also. Now they are going for more higher degrees and so on. We did post-installation survey and that was revealed. And to enhance their employment, local employment, we have also set up the agro-processing based cottage industries, where predominantly the villagers are managing actually. Village ladies are managing the agro-processing industries. They have formed a society and we have finalized the agreement with them. So, and the 2 pilots actually do microgrid. This is the first time interconnected microgrid have been tried out. And to take care of synchronization problem, if you are electrical engineer, 2 sources you cannot synchronize unless one is controllable. So to solve that problem, we have gone for AC-DC AC converter. Now these are the post-installation figures. You see the biomass on left. We are giving training to them also, how to operate that, what benefits they will get. Our review committee is there. Solar pump on the right top is shown, and then solar installation and the processing units are shown below. So the post-installation survey has really revealed a lot of advantages to the villagers. Anyhow, am I audible? Yes. Yeah. So not only giving them 24/7 power supply, I can increase my volume again, but it has helped in their children education, increased revenue generation, and they are now using a modern electrical gadgets. So, and it has enhanced the agriculture yield. This is also not working. Anyhow, so other thing I want to talk is a very indigenous development of advanced distribution management system platform. See, our campus, through separate funding from Ministry of Power, had undergone with the SCADA system. Now, on top of that, through this project, we have developed the ADMS platform, and it has many new features, actually. We have developed from scratch with one of the industry partners, the Synergy, which is located in Faridabad. And we have utilized the SIM for modeling, and which provides you plug and play feature. We have gone for distributed architecture, real-time communication interface, and almost several of the application software have been developed jointly, and they have been tested, their operation have been tested. Now this uses GIS map, and also it can be used for training purpose if required, or further testing of the smart distribution system concept. So this is a great achievement we have already got through this project. The other one is the DSO, which I think our team members will be talking. So I'll just end here very briefly that we worked on evolving the smart distribution system concept. Considering almost all the aspects like cyber aspect, we have also integrated the EV charging infrastructure, which is supported by independent solar charging stations. Then it has resulted into social upliftment of specifically in the rural area. Carbon footprint, anyhow, if you go for such kind of project, roughly 1 kilowatt will give you 1 ton of saving of carbon. So 400 tons from IIT Kanpur project itself, it will be tenfold from the Netra project. The DSO concept in Indian context have been developed, which will be presented soon. ADMS platform indigenously have been developed. The network microgrid for the first time have been tried out. We are also doing plenty of capacity building workshop to utility engineers, industries, and researchers. We have also given in our recommendation policy and regulatory guidelines. I think those who got our compendium, I think it is very much mentioned there. Now, although not part of this project, but we have also come out with certain products like amplifier, micro PMU integrated with the NAVIC signal, Indian NAVIC signal. Most of the PMUs are with the GPS signal. And now through one of the startup, we are going to commercialize it. Thank you very much. I think it was a very brief introduction to the project.
Thank you very much, Professor Srivastava. Due to paucity of time, I request our esteemed speaker to reduce a presentation within 4 or 5 minutes. Now I request Professor Abhijit Abhyankar to share your views and presentation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pradyot. Thanks. Thank you, DST, for this opportunity, and thanks, ISJ, for hosting us. So, this will be a short presentation that will be made by me and Mr. Saxena from TERI. This is in continuation with what Professor Srivastava just explained about the UI Assist project that we did together. So one of the major outcomes of this UI Assist project was the conceptualization of distribution system operators in India. And then we came out with a white paper, which was published way back in May 2023 and is being popularized. So basically, I'm going to talk about one of the perhaps most sensational and most likely debatable discussed topics for next 10 years in Indian context, that is distribution system operators, DSOs. So this presentation, as I said, will be done by me and Mr. Saxena. The arrangement between us is that the easier part will be handled by me and the difficult one will be handled by him. Now this DSO concept, it pertains to the that part of the electricity commodity supply chain that is evolving and changing its nature in a very, very big way. That is distribution sector. So if you see in India, we have NLDC, we have 5 RLDCs, 31 SLDCs and 100 plus DISCOMs. Now it is this place, the distribution sector, where there are lots of changes that are happening and it is unimaginable what kind of future are we going to have so long as the resources, the kind of resources that are getting added into the distribution sector. So we have challenges galore as of today to handle distribution systems. Because of the changes that are being introduced, the challenge, not only the size of the challenges, but the nature of the challenges will also change very soon. And this change story starts here. It starts with global clean electrification drive, allied with India's renewable target of 2030. We have PM Surya Ghar Yojana, electric vehicles, battery energy storage, demand response schemes, electric cooking, etc. So basically, whatever changes that we are talking about, they are all happening at the distribution sector. And this is going to give rise to a lot many DERs, distributed energy resources that are getting embedded into the distribution sector. And as a result of this, there's going to be a massive change in physical layer of the whole distribution sector. So the conventionally passive distribution network is very soon, it has started already, the change has already started, with very soon become active distribution network. And how active, that will decide the magnitude of the challenges that we have to handle. What are the challenges? When the physical layer changes, there's going to be epoch change in distribution system operation philosophy. You cannot continue with the conventional style of operating the system. There'll be bidirectional power flow. Conventionally, we are used to unidirectional power flow. All our operational SOPs are established considering that there's going to be unidirectional power flow. But The moment you have large-scale DER penetration, you're going to get bidirectional power flow. It will lead to issues handling protection and all that. Lack of visibility. So many resources will get embedded into the distribution system where the system operator may not have direct visibility forward. Emergence of prosumers. The consumers will no more continue to only consume electricity. They will start producing electricity as well. So we are handling this through net metering kind of a thing. But when we have millions of such customers who get converted into prosumers, how do we deal with this situation? Handling flexibility services, the DERs with them will bring about large number of flexibility resources, which will be useful not only for distribution systems, but also they will make this flexibility available to the transmission system as well. So how do you handle these flexibility services? Data is going to get generated in huge quantums. How do we optimally make use of the data? Markets. So currently in India, we all talk about wholesale markets, but very soon, in the near future, we are going to have some kind of market mechanisms down up to distribution level. And there are going to be changes in consumption trends. So business as usual is not an option. The entire globe is thinking about how do we handle this situation. And there is a unanimous understanding that DSO could be one solution. DSO could be an entity which can really handle this. Now, what is DSO and what does it do? So, when the distribution system evolves, as mentioned, when we have large-scale DER penetration into the system, then you will see that there's going to be change in the type of stakeholders that we have. On the left-hand side, you will see the existing stakeholders, while on the right-hand side, you will see the new stakeholders that are likely to get introduced in the new era of distribution systems. We will have aggregators, you will have prosumers, you will have retailers, you will even have local energy or flexibility market setups. And DSO will be the entity or an institution which will coordinate with all this for effective exploitation of the juice in terms of flexibility, providing opportunity to trade electricity at distribution level, having appropriate coordination with transmission system, and so on and so forth. On the right-hand side in this figure, you will see that there are typical functions that DSO would discharge when it gets established. These are, of course, conventional functions. Some of them, many of them, they are conventional functions, but the context of their operation, the way in which the functions would be carried out by DSO would change because of the changing nature of the distribution systems. For example, resource adequacy will be a new functionality that will get embedded into the operations to be carried out by DSOs. Market facilitation will perhaps be the responsibility of the DSOs. Ancillary or flexibility resources, how do we really exploit them? So all these new functions will be taken care by DSO. Now the question that is being asked is that whether the current DISCOMs, whether they are able to they'll be able to handle this. The answer is yes and no. There are certain pretexts, certain settings under which the existing DISCOMs can get converted into DSO if they satisfy certain conditions, but that is an involved discussion, and I will stop at that. I would like to invite now Mr. Saxena to take it further from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Abhyankar. I think you have already laid the foundation of the topic, and the next slide, which is what is there. Why do we need DSOs in India? The distribution system operation functions are being done ever since the distribution utilities came into being. Now the question is, with the paradigm shift in the distribution system operation, we need a very focused attention on the distribution system operations. The reverse power flow, the over voltages, the harmonics, etc. A lot of things which are going to be there with the introduction of DERs, as they grow in the numbers and the sizes, I think this is going to be challenging and it needs to be managed more effectively. We know that the solar rooftop we had a target of about 40 gigawatt, and now there is a Surya Ghar scheme which aims to give a further push to this. The electric vehicles which are going to be there, not only the charging but vehicle to grid, I think that is another dimension which is going to be putting into certain operational requirement which need to be specifically focused about. Then the next question comes in that what does it cost and what is the benefit of the DSO? So the capital expenditure is going to be of the order of only 1 to 5% of the annual revenue requirement of the distribution utility. And we have done a typical analysis for a utility. It is in terms of rupees per kilowatt hour. It is 1/3 of a rupee per kilowatt hour. The benefits, there are a number of benefits which may be tangible, intangible, quantifiable, non-quantifiable. All of them we can keep on sort of narrating. Reduced to O&M expenses, avoided cost of outages, deferred capital investment, improved reliability, etc., have been sort of mentioned herein. I think if one has to answer this question, one has to look at the answer of that we have a very elaborate hierarchy of control centers in the country, NLDC, RLDCs, SLDC, and the benefits which have accrued to the power system operation in the country are well known. I think similar benefits will accrue from the distribution system operation centers when they come into being in full-fledged form. Now, is DSO a new baby? Really not. The discussion in regard to the DSO in India started somewhere in the year 2016. It started much earlier, but in the year 2016, Forum of Regulator brought out a research which is on the scheduling, metering, testing, etc., abbreviated as SAMAST. And therein it was identified when the penetration increases, the scheduling, measurement of deviations, the deviation charges, etc., they are going to be so sort of a radically different, and that is why we need an entity called DSO, which can be similar to the lines on which the SLDCs, etc., have been set up. That will be required to be set up. The second report which was there from the, again, there's a technical committee set up by the Ministry of Power for the integration of renewables in the country. There also DSO figured very prominently, and it was managed that it will be able to do a lot of activities, including the aggregation from the aggregators, TSO, DSO coordination, etc., and it should be able to manage the different types of contracts which will be there. Another report which was there from the Forum of Regulators in regard to the capacity building of load dispatchers, which came in the year 2018, that also talked about the establishment of DSOs, and that was also, that report also emphasized about the capacity building requirements in this context. The draft National Electricity Plan, which came in the year 2021, also mentioned that the DSO is essentially required. The draft plan mentioned that as and when the separation of carriage and content takes place, then only the DSO would be required. But we, as a part of the project team, feel very clearly that the DSOs are required, irrespective of the fact whether the separation of carriage and content is there or not there. Now, coming on to in what way one should move forward, I think the report has made certain models. They can go ahead with any type of model, and it is for the utility to choose what model they want to do it, and they can customize it as per the requirement. Details are available in the report. For the paucity of time, I will have to rush up. I'm looking at Dr. Reddy, and I think I'm required to rush up a bit further. And I think this is the last slide which is there in my presentation. This report was released at MNIT Jaipur, wherein all the esteemed members of the project team, including Mr. Soonee, Dr. Padhy, and Professor Srivastava, Professor Abhyankar, all were there. So this is what is there. It was on 8th of May of 2023. Next step is, I think we have to make some utility has to move forward, making a project report for DSO, take it to the regulator, and make it happen in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Abhyankar and Professor Saxena. Now I request Professor Zakir Hussain to share your views.
A very good evening to all the participants here. I am going to present on an ongoing project called Sustenance, and the full form is Sustainable Energy System for Achieving Novel Carbon Neutral Energy Communities. And this is an Indo-EU collaborative project funded by DST on Indian side and European Commission on the European side. The main goal of this sustenance project is to achieve carbon neutral energy communities, where we are integrating different energy vectors into the system and optimally operating those different energy vectors in this sector coupled system. We are around 21 partners of the project, both from India and Europe, led by IIT Bombay from Indian side and Aalborg University from the European side. And we have both industries and academic institutes as the consortium partners of this particular project, along with some of the NGOs in some of the pilots. So, in line with some of the earlier projects that were highlighted by earlier speakers, this project is actually trying to integrate different energy vectors. As you can see here, it's not looking only on the electricity vector, it is looking on the water, it's looking on the transportation, and is looking on the heating and cooling dimensions as well. Because if we look at achieving the carbon neutral goals, it's not only electricity sector that needs to actually achieve the carbon neutrality, but it's also equally important other sectors which all need to achieve this carbon neutral goal. So therefore, the focus here is to have a cross-sector coupling, not only integrating these different energy vectors, but also utilizing the flexibility that these different energy vectors actually can offer to each other. On Indian side, in this project, we have total of 6 pilot demonstrations, 3 in India and 3 in Europe. In India, we have, out of those 3, 1 is in Jharkhand stage, in Baruvida village. It's a tribal village of around 60 houses, and the second one is in the Silchar, Assam. Is the village is known as Borokhai village, and the third one is IIT Bombay campus. So if we look at the first demonstration site, that is Baruvida village in Jharkhand, currently at the start of this project, there was no electricity in the village. They do not have reliable access of forget the clean water, even adequate water. They have single open well around 1.5 kilometers away from the village. And there is the cooking is done by firewood as well as cow dung based cooking approaches are actually being currently used by the villagers. And as I mentioned, it's a tribal village, and it is it takes them around 3 to 4 kilometers. They are away from the main road, and they do not have any public transport or any other means of the transportation as such. They do walk down to over that road of 2-3 kilometers to the nearest road. And having the survey done before, in the phase of the proposal stage of this project, we targeted these different energy vectors: solar power, wind power, and biogas-based generation vector, along with the battery storage on the electricity side. And then cooking, we wanted to replace with the biogas-based cooking, and partly with biomass-based cooking. Water pumping system we have targeted, which is already now in place. Water pumping, a domestic reliable water pumping system within the village, in the village itself, which can cater to the needs of the villagers itself and the cattle that they have in the village. And biogas, as I mentioned, is serving dual purpose. The primary purpose is the cooking, biogas-based cooking, and then we are also having a generation of around 12 kilowatt from biogas to support the overall energy system. And we have e-rickshaw based transportation system that is being indigenously developed under this project, which would be part of the sustainable transportation system for the village. So these, you can see some of the pictures of the solar PV installation in the system and the distribution lines that have been constructed in the village. As I mentioned, this project is looking at the integration of different energy vectors, and as a part of that, we have off-the-shelf technology that we are putting up in these demonstration sites, but we have reasonably quite a bit number of development, technology development activities that we have taken up under this project with the main focus of the applications for these rural villages. For example, you can see here on the left side of this slide is a multi-utility heat pump. Even though there is a lot of heat pumps in the Europe which have been using them for a long time, but the application of this heat pump is quite a bit different in this particular dimension, in this particular pilot. It is designed, is developed with a target of providing the chilling provisions for the milk from the cattle that they have, for drying the vegetables, and other cold storage for the application of the products that farm products that are being grown within the village in the agriculture sector. Another development activity is this development of a small low-speed wind turbine generator. As we know that the wind turbine generators are designed for high speed of 11-12 kilometer per second. But if in this case, we are targeting a wind generator of rated speed of 6 meter per second to harness the wind energy from low speed, low wind spells. And another third development activity is developing this e-rickshaw, which is having the indigenously developed drivetrain and the charging system, which is designed for applications of this rough terrain in these particular villages. And another one that we have developed is the project under this project is developed is a tool for designing solar PV powered water pumping system, which has been implemented in this particular village. As you can see, some of the activities already carried out in terms of this water pumping system. The second demonstration site is Borakhai in Assam village. As I mentioned, there are two pockets of the villages that we are targeting 20 houses each, that is around 40 houses. It is weakly connected to the grid with very limited supply of the electricity from the distribution side, from the DISCOM APDCL of around 2 to 3 hours on average or a day. And some of the houses are yet to be electrified in this particular cluster. And here we are targeting, in the previous demonstration site, it is an off-grid, islanded, and here it is the grid connected, but weakly grid connected, or we can say with relatively unreliable supply. So here we are targeting to have a grid interactive, this carbon neutral energy communities, energy system in this particular site, which is again targeting electricity sector, water, transportation, and sustainable e-rickshaw based transportation. Along with this on the electricity side, we have again solar PV, storage, wind, and related activities. Technology development activities under this is domestic water supply system that we are designing, filtering system, and cluster-based micro multiport converter. The third site is IIT Bombay as a demonstration site. Here we are focusing on smart electrical building and smart EV charging infrastructure in the campus. As you can see here, we have this Shunya building where we are targeting to have net electricity exchange it with the grid zero and sourcing it from the local solar PV and the storage, and also vehicle to home site that we have targeted for this particular building. And you can see here some of the measurements that we have taken up in the month of April to May, where we have demonstrated net zero electricity exchange with the grid. And these are some of the development activities, again, which are targeted for this particular site. EV chargers for two-wheeler, three-wheeler, and four-wheeler segment. Smart transformer, which can interact with the grid as well as with the building and other renewables distributed energy resources that would be there. And the multi-port converter for this smart electric building. I'll quickly rush through the other three demonstration sites, or I would rather conclude here itself. But as I mentioned, there are three other demonstration sites from the European side as well. So with this, I would like to conclude this presentation, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zakir. Now I request Dr. Srinivas Bhaskar Karnaki to share your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Srinivas from IIT Bhubaneshwar. I'll be presenting a project overview of one of the ongoing projects, that is Re-Empowered. This project has been funded by DST, and as a part of this project, we are planning to develop and demonstrate novel tools to provide a complete solution for all stages of microgrid, which is at the nascent stage as well as a very matured thing. The key features are it involves 2 continents with 5 countries, and we have already developed 10 eco tools which we are going to be installed in the 4 demo sites, 2 in India and 2 in EU. There are total 7 Indian partners and 7 European partners, which also has industry in it. So the major objectives we have divided into 3, that is technological objectives, which is increased energy efficiency, and the second is forecasting the sustainable and economic community growth, where the business models will be developed. I just want to highlight the demo sites. One is in the Goramara Island, which is a very difficult demo site. The reason is it is located in the Sundarban Islands, where the electricity has not gone there, and there are around 1,100 houses with around 3,000 people living. Till now they are just using solar panels. Now we have given a 160 kilowatt peak supply. The second demo site is Kemzor, which is in Odisha, which is having a little difficult situation. It has a microgrid, but we are enhancing the capacity, and here also we are trying to integrate the old microgrid with the new microgrid. And the other 2 setups are in Bornholm and Kitnos, which are very matured. What we are trying to do is to implement the eco tools which we have developed. So these are the 10 eco tools we are going to develop in this project. First 5 are the software related eco tools, especially the eco community. We have already developed an app which we are trying to use it in all 4 demo sites. And eco microgrid is the energy management system for smaller off-grid microsystems. And the last 5 tools are the hardware tool sets, where the eco converter, we are developing a 10 kilowatt eco microgrid converter, which will be installed in Goramara demo site. And smart meters also we have developed. And one of the important feature of this one is eco resilience. As I said, Goramara Island is in the West Bengal, and it is near to Bay of Bengal. It has a huge disadvantage of having cyclones on a regular basis. So we are developing an eco resilient structures, both in terms of structure of solar PV as well as wind turbines. So these are some of the tools which we have already developed. You can see there is a eco community app which we have developed. We have developed eco monitor, air quality, which are developed by CMERE. One important thing is these wind turbine, which has been installed in CMERE now, and we are going to transport it to the Goramara Island, which can be lowered down very easily during the cyclone prediction. And it is a very lightweight. We are developing around 10 kilowatt, which will be physically installed there within next 1 month. This is the demo site of Kemzor, where I just highlight that already 22 kilowatt peak is available there. We are installing another 50 kilowatt peak, where biomass, biogas, and solar and battery, all these 4 energy vectors will be integrated using the eco microgrid toolset. These are some of the installation photographs already we have done. This is an electric vehicle which we it is commercially available, but the motor has been changed in such a way that to suit the hilly terrain of Kimzor demo site. These are the community activities. We have started a village community there who is already started paying them. Earlier they used to get free of cost. Now they are very much interested to start paying money for the electricity. This is the other Goramara demo site where apart from installing solar PV and wind, we are also integrating the electric vehicle and e-boat, which will be developed using a solar-based e-boat, and the charging infrastructure is developed by MNIT Nagpur. These are some of the photographs. This is the final installation. We have done it, and all these panels, if you observe, it has been uplifted by 6 feet so that during even flood time also these are taken care. I will skip this particular slide due to time constraint, but what is the major takeaway point that I want to convey is such projects, in the initial stage only, the engagement of the local people is very much required. Otherwise, the success of these projects will be very difficult. What we observed is in 2020 when we started this project, right from there we started understanding the requirement of the villagers, made them a part of this project and started training them, which has really helped us to form the village community, both the demo sites in India. So the sustainability of these projects depends upon how the villagers pay back and start thinking of paying for the electricity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Srinivas. Now I would request Dr. Ganesh Das to share your views. Thank you.
So the important part is how many are interested to hear the views, at this point in time. But nevertheless, few thoughts. I was just wondering when I was discussing that all professors, that what is that, some people like us are doing in this kind of a group. Then I realized that if you include both the panels together, the first one and the second one, we actually work with all of you, So I think that probably tells us that even though we may not be right there when it comes to the industry academic collaboration, if you look at US and Europe, etc., but we are definitely getting there. And we also find a lot of value in the projects which we do with the academic institutions, including IITs and the other institutions, and of course, the support of the DST. And as we speak, I will just, the point is, one is of course some of the things which we do in India, and there are certain things which we do outside India. In fact, some of the projects which we have done, we have not been able to get any funding from India, but we have been able to get some funding directly from the European Commission, and we have been able to do projects in India for that. And as we speak, there are two projects there is an organization called BRING in Belgium. It's a research organization of Belgium government. And there are two projects which we are doing. One is essentially on understanding that what could be a common battery management system for when you are having a different chemistries of battery. And then also we are working on some of the different dimensions of storage. So very quickly, I thought from the industry standpoint, I'll share some of the things in terms of what are the trends which we feel is going to be important. And one of the things which is very different from the academic presentations what we saw, our first question we ask is, what is the scale? Can we scale it? Because by the time you complete a pilot project, do we have a customer ready? Do we are in a situation, or are we in a situation to address the requirement of a customer? Can we add value to the stakeholder? That is some of the things which we are very, very conscious of seeing, and that is where we put the resources. Talk about some of the, the way Tata Power is giving you a complete picture, and some of our experience and the mission innovation part. It has been mentioned in the first the presentation also. We have been also very actively working with the mission innovation initiatives, which includes many of the professors who are in the panel. So we see a trend in the utilities, and if you look at the trend which has been there across the world, you have got decarbonization, grid resilience, immersive technology, utility mapping, digital twin, blockchain, you heard of all these things, decentralized utility, you talked about the distributed energy resources, artificial intelligence coming in a big way, operational automation coming in a big way. So therefore what happens is the innovation continues to play a critical role, and some of the things has got a very strong, kind of a effect in terms of the variability in prices, the intermittency in the RE. And actually India, though we have a very strong target and we have been going around deploying renewable, but we are still not there in balancing the grid in the way we could do it. It's still some way off. How do we really use demand response? How do we really get the consumer to participate? How do we really make sure that all of our rooftop are in use? How do we really integrate storage at a local level as well as a utility level for optimal use? There are still some of these questions which are still being asked. So this kind of a slide summarizes the panel discussion which has been having, the first one and the second one. You look at demand response, predictive maintenance, asset management, cyber security. These are all a dimension which is actually affecting and then enabling the value to the customer which we are giving all the time. And again, this will have its own challenges. This will have its own, updation of technology. And one of the serious thing which happens is, if you look at the timeline of the project which has been presented, you start from somewhere, there is an application, you find an application, then the decision happens after a year, and then you set up a team, then you set up a project, then you set up a pilot, and by the time the technology leapfrogs, technology moves. So how do you really make sure that the technology stays with you while you are doing a project? What sort of a dynamicity is there in the project? So those are the things perhaps as we do the project we have to figure out. This is what Tata Power is all about. And what I will say is we are actually moving from the grey to the green. We are transiting. And it is around 108-year-old. We were the first to set up a hydro plant in India. We were the first to set up a thermal plant in India. And now what we are going to do is we are actually making sure that we now are going to be the green company. Very strong targets. We have the highest market share when it comes to solar rooftop, and some of the things which the Prime Minister also has announced that is going to be important. While that one of the examples of microgrid we have seen in the presentations, we have already set up 200 microgrids and we intend to set up 10,000. And then we are finding out that how can this be commercially viable. And once it becomes commercially viable, once it gets attention of the customer, once you get investors to coming in and put in money, that is exactly when the project starts winning. So we are very conscious of the fact that how do we really make sure the innovation, the technology, the research translate into commercial value proposition for the customer. And when it becomes commercial value proposition, then it is going to scale. And when it's going to scale, then you will have knowledge sharing happening from country to country, continent to continent, and of course these kind of forums. So we intend to be carbon neutral because we feel sustainability is going to be one of the critical elements which need to be addressed. So some of the technologies, I will not get into depth of that. We got close to around 30 crores from European Commission directly. It was not from DST. It directly came from the European Commission, and then we set up this microgrid, urban microgrid in St. Xavier School, Delhi. And if anybody wants to visit, it's always there. So we have put in intelligent transformer, smart transformer as we call it. We have a battery energy storage system BESS of approximately 274 kilowatt. And it's all integrated to the solar rooftop of a school and as well as one of the other buildings. And we can do actually an islanding also on that. And a lot of partners, industry partners. And then we were also first to really look at the battery energy storage system. We set up the 10 megawatt grid connected, which was the South Asia's largest and India's first BESS system. Then we did a community scale storage system. We did a pole mounted stage storage system. Not only that, we started working on alternate chemistries of battery because we found the lithium has its challenges, the cost has a challenge when it comes to utility applications. So we worked on vanadium flow battery. We worked on some of zinc chemistry, and Professor Srivastava, he mentioned about the IIT lab at Noida. In fact, one of our incubators is located there, and it's a zinc-based battery, and the cost effectiveness is very high. We are doing pilots around that. So we are working with multiple chemistries, and we have a big landscape. We are part of the NITI Aayog's committee, wherein we are trying to look at technology agnostic batteries. So the point I'm trying to make is you start with an experiment of what is available as a technology, but you, after doing and learning, you really put up what the requirement to the marketplace, and this is how it's going to work. So we have been working on all this. Some of the things which we have mentioned, like image, satellite image, again using, one of the critical things which happens in our kind of industry is we don't actually invent technologies. The technologies are invented in other industries and we adopt them to our different applications. Satellite imaging is a big thing which has come. So we have adopted them to use vegetation and all. Madam, I am very aware of the time. I'll request you not to come in between, please. So the satellite base is important to look at that. The vegetation is an important thing to look at because the failure is there. We have actually able to set up a sort of a digital twin when it comes to the hydropower generation. We have set it up in our hydro plant. And we have also used a lot of AL, ML for solar forecasting. And we have a government-supported Clean Energy International Incubation Center located at Smart Grid Lab. It's in Delhi, Rohini. We have a Smart Grid Lab on the ground floor. First and the second floor, we have the incubation center. And incidentally, we had a presentation of ITES. ITES, the Catapult has one of the Catapult startup is incubated in our incubation center, and then we have also done a joint project on that. Again, a launch pad which talk about that. This is the Smart Grid Lab. Thank you very much for your attention. These are the few things I thought I'll share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ganesh Das, for your insightful presentation. I believe we have many more questions, but due to paucity of time, I would request you to interact your question with after the session. So I would now request chair of the session to give a concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that we are between you and dinner. So very quickly, what a series of presentations in these two sessions, starting from Dr. Padhy, collaboration among so many institutions and industry, Indo-US, Indo-UK, Mission Innovation, and all of them. And then Mr. Sreedhar, DISCOM's future ready. That was the message, and digital twins. Yesterday only I saw IEEE digital twins in power systems. So that's all our utilities are working on. And Dr. Srivastava explained about 6 pilots. Now these are no more, only papers. These we can go and physically see that. And a lot of work has been done, including ADMS. And as far as DSO is concerned, Professor Abhyankar and Mr. Saxena has very nicely explained that we have no choice. We got to do DSO, leapfrog, and while US might not have done, but Europe is doing very fast. And DSO is something of an institutional arrangement. Technology has to be supported by institutional arrangements too. Dr. Rathir has talked about vectors, energy vectors, all kinds of arrangements, and heat pumps, low-speed wind, my favorite. We must do something about it in India. And then integration of all the vectors. That's extremely important. And then Dr. Bhaskar, microgrid and island systems. The remote areas have to be properly catered, and all kinds of eco tools. What he also mentioned very silently is, besides technology, we need social interactions, the behavioral side. That's no less an important area which we need to do. We have technology, but when we go for implementation in the rural areas or even urban areas, it's not going to be easy. We'll see this with the EVs too. And then, of course, Mr. Ganesh, on a very high pitch, mentioned about how industry and academia is collaborating and cautioned us about half-life of technology. By the time we do, it's over. But gray to green, that's fantastic. That's what we have to again leapfrog. And I'm sure that with this presentation, you must get the confidence that India is moving forward. We have the support of Department of Science and Technology, the policymakers, the regulators, the academia, and the industry. What more do we want? It's all happening time, happening place. Thank you very much, ISGF, and thank you, DST, and thank you all panelists for making it so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, esteemed panelists and wonderful audience, for your patience and involvement. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to request our Executive Director, Ms. Reena Suri, to present the mementos to our distinguished speakers. Shri S.K. Soonee, former CEO, Grid Controller of India. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Next. Shri Pradyot Koley ji, scientist from DST. Thank you very much, sir. You moderated the session very well. Thank you very much for joining us. Shri N.P. Padhy, Director from MNIT Jaipur. Thank you for joining us, sir. Shri Sreedhar Venkat, Senior Vice President from BSES Rajdhani Power Limited. Thank you very much, sir. Shri S.C. Srivastava, Project Director from IIT Kanpur. Shri Abhijit R. Abhyankar from IIT Delhi. Shri A.K. Saxena, Senior Director from TERI. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Shri Zakir Hussain, Professor from IIT Mumbai. Shri Srinivas Bhaskar, Professor from IIT Bhubaneshwar. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Shri Ganesh Das, Chief Collaboration and Innovation from TPDTL.